Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Community Engagement Podcast. Hosting today's podcast will be myself, Gary Bryson, and
Heather Bryson.
Today we're joined by Mike Benson, who is the Director of the Scottish Crannog Centre, which is located within the Council of Perth and Kinross. Mike, it's an absolute pleasure to have you join us today for the podcast. We've been really looking forward to talking to you, and hopefully over the summer period we'll actually get the time to visit the centre for ourselves.
Be lovely to see you all. Well, see you both. Yeah, and if you let me know when you're coming, we'll give you a special VIP tour.
That would be absolutely fantastic, Mike. We'd really appreciate that. Mike, when I first spoke to Heather about doing a podcast with the Scottish Crannog Centre, there was one question that Heather asked me straight away. So I think it's probably best if we start by asking, Heather,
what is a crannog?
Well, it's many things to many different people. When you're driving past the loch, any loch, most lochs in Scotland, you'll see these little islands that are just in the middle of the loch, and sometimes they'll have a tree on, or sometimes they won't. And that is where the people from years and years and years ago, 82 grand miles away for you, would have built their homes. So they would have built their homes on these islands, or they would have built them on stilts like the one that we've reconstructed in the past that caught fire. But for me, what is a crannog? It is home. It is a place of sanctuary. It's a place where you were safe. It's a place where you would sit around with your family, with your dad, and not do a podcast maybe, but to have a chat and just generally feel safe and part of something.
That's brilliant. Thanks for clearing that up. I believe you're actually in the process of moving site just now. Where is your new site located exactly, and why did you feel the need to move?
So on June the 11th, 2021 at 11 o'clock at night, the previous crannog caught fire, and 6 minutes later it was gone. So you look at the CCTV and the whole thing was just gone in 6 minutes. So by the time I arrived, because I was rang up and got out of my bed, I think there was 5 fire engines there, the police and all the rest of it, and it was horrendous. People in tears, as you can imagine. And we gathered ourselves together on around about 1:30 in the morning, in the middle of the night, and we said to the staff and volunteers and everybody, you know what, nobody's been hurt. We're going to thank our lucky stars nobody's been hurt. We're going to thank our lucky stars that the original belongings of the Crannog dwellers, the collection in the museum, are still safe. We're going to pack up our belongings exactly like they would have done, and we're going to move. And we've moved onto the north side of the loch to a new site called Dalerb, and that's where we are just now. And in the summer, that's where you'll be coming to see us.
I had no idea the centre had suffered such a tragedy, Mike. It must have been absolutely heartbreaking for everyone that works or volunteers at the centre, and for everyone that has supported it in one way or another over the years. So lots of work's obviously been done to get the centre ready for visitors again. When, realistically, can we expect the centre to officially reopen?
Well, we are hoping. We've been going flat out. I mean, so on the morning after the fire, we had no money, we had no plan. We had no planning for a new site, but we've got there. We are hoping, fingers crossed, and a few things could still go wrong, but we are hoping to be able to open on March the 31st.
Yeah, that explains why you can't give an exact date. I know on your website just now it says that you're closed at present. So that explains, obviously, work is ongoing and you're aiming for a completion date of such as the 31st of March.
Yeah. And that's where we are.
Okay, so when you are open, I understand that during the winter months you obviously have to shut down. So what are your normal opening times, and are these affected by the weather at all?
We're hoping on the new site we'll stay open all year round because we have better facilities, and we are affected by the weather. You know, the wind can be blowing trees down, the snow and everything. But this winter has done us a favour because we've had to build the Iron Age village through the winter. I've got some great photographs of the guys working at -10, and these are some of the finest craftspeople that you'll see in Scotland. There's no nails, there's no concrete. There's not one straight piece of wood. They're all of the materials are being brought on site within walking distance of the site, like the Crannog dwellers would have done. So it's a bit tricky, but we've got there.
Heather, you've got a few questions you'd like to ask?
The site itself is a visitor attraction and museum. What is the aim of the centre?
That's a good question, Heather. It depends. we have lots of different levels. So obviously we want to tell the inspirational stories of the Crannog dwellers from 2,500 years ago, or 82 grandmothers away. But we also want to talk about what it means to be a community, what it means to care for each other, what it means to care for the world around us. We want people to enjoy the culture. So we do a lot of singing, a lot of poetry, a lot of skills. So if you came, there'll be people weaving. On the new site, there'll be a blacksmith. There'll be cooking. So you'll be able to taste some of the food that was not McDonald's. You'll be able to taste some of the food they might have eaten 2,500 years ago. So you get a real sense of being there, and hopefully the aim is for folks that come to see us to be part of it and to contribute and feel part of that community for the day, and something stay with them forever.
Do visitors explore the site themselves, or do you provide guided tours?
So we do a bit of both. So we would take you on a guided tour through the museum and explain everything in there and take all the questions, and then you would meet, as I say, the weaver, the spinner, the person doing the cooking, and you would see people like yourself, Heather. We employ apprentices, so you'll see people 16, 17-year-old who are just a little bit older than yourself, who are learning to be with us. So yeah, it's a combination, and if you wanted to just have a bit of a mooch by yourself or go back over something you're particularly interested in, you're absolutely welcome to do that. And if you hang around long enough, you'll hear me tell a really bad joke.
Mike, throughout the course of the year, you've got several events running, or you will have, like you have previously, such as the Rise and Shine Festival, Celtic Autumn, and the Samhain Halloween Festival. Can you just tell us a little bit about these, when they run, what kind of experience a visitor can expect from each of those?
Yeah, so we do an awful lot of events, and they are all different. And the Rise and Shine is probably one of our, not favourites, it is the right word, but it's just gorgeous. So the Rise and Shine, we work closely with our partner UNESCO Refugees to Integration Through Language and Arts, and basically the site is taken over by these fantastic people from all over the world. So you will have coffee made from Africa, you will have tea made from the Far East, you'll hear all kinds of different languages, you'll try different types of food, you see a whole host of different skills, but all connected to what I said at the beginning around sense of community, about feeling safe, about being at home. We do quite a lot of music evenings. The Samhain is everybody gets dressed up and it's all scary. So all that goes on. We try and keep with the seasons, and we try and keep with the folklore. Yeah, I think our events are pretty cool, really. On some of the events, you'll see, we have some circus folk come in and set themselves up across the water and twizzle on bits of rope, and they're fantastic. Throw lumps of fire around. Don't mention fire, and so on. So there's all kinds of things going. So yeah, the whole point being, whenever you come, you should see something different. And we don't tell the same story every day. So you could come to see us if there wasn't the event on a Tuesday, and hear a series of stories, and come on the Wednesday, and you'll get a completely different take from different folks that are on that day.
It sounds wonderful, Mike. To be honest, I'm sure the kids enjoy it as much as the adults do as well, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, and the dogs, we're dog friendly. I've got my little dog here. I don't see her through the week. I've just got in and she's sulking because I'm not making a fuss of her yet. Because I work away, I haven't had a chance to give her a cuddle yet.
Oh. Now, I believe that you also run workshops for those attending to experience what a day living in the Iron Age would have been like. What does that involve exactly?
Yeah, so you can do a bit of pottery, a bit of wild jewellery. You will eat, we'll make you some food, have your lunch there. You'll get to handle some of the collection. You'll be able to put your fingerprint into the fingerprint of somebody from 2,500 years ago from the pottery. Yeah, it's very intimate and immersive, and you're almost kind of, maybe 2 members of staff to 3 or 4 visitors. It's very, very immersive, bit of storytelling, bit of poetry. And it's trying to capture what would have happened in daily life.
Brilliant. Now, I noticed on your website that you also run your workshops online. Are these workshops aimed at any particular individuals or groups, and how do they differ from attending in person?
So for the workshops online, we began doing those during COVID, and we worked with Glasgow Association for Mental Health, and we do a series of workshops with the folks over there every year now. And the first one starts on Monday next week with the new folks that we're going to meet from Glasgow. I remember, so what happens is they each get a box every week. They get a box with their name on that's all been handwritten. There's a handwritten letter inside, and then there will be some wire and some pliers, a tea bag and a biscuit. And we, together with everybody online, we make something together. We look at something in the collection, we take inspiration, and online they make something. And then on the very last, that's done over a series of weeks. And then on the very last one, we all jump in the car and go to Glasgow, and we all sit in a room, and because we've got to know each other by then, and we do it in person. And while we were building the new site, we've invited the folks that we work alongside us. So Glasgow Association Mental Health brought 3 or 4 carloads through, and they helped with the build. They helped take some of the helped prepare some of the timbers and various bits and bobs to help with the build. So that's what the online courses are for. They're for folks that live too far away.
Do you know, I never actually thought about the online workshops running at this point in time, simply because you were closed. But obviously, because it is online, that you're not visiting this site. So there's no reason why. It's perfect timing. No?
Yeah. This will be the fourth year that we've run those, and the impact and the learning on both sides is just gorgeous, and the connections that we make. So again, it's keeping that human beingness, keeping it going, really, keeping that, don't mention the fire, keeping that fire alight of stuff.
So the courses themselves have been really popular, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Heather, you've got a few questions you'd like to ask about the volunteering side of things, so over to you.
On your website, it states that the centre is always looking for volunteers. What sort of activities can a volunteer participate in, and how many volunteers do you currently have?
So the volunteers that we have about 50, sometimes more. So on one of our events, Celts are coming, there could maybe be 50 or 60 volunteers on site that day, or bringing their skills. The volunteers do everything from cataloguing the collection, to working in the shop, to helping to build a new museum, to helping with the courses, to working with schools, to helping in the cafe, to supporting the Young Archaeology Club. Heather, come to the Young Archaeology Club on a Saturday morning. So literally every element of what we do, the volunteers, no difference between the volunteers and the staff. Everybody just chips in and does what we can.
That is a fantastic number of volunteers you've got. I had no idea it was as big as that. Where do they all come from? Obviously, you're saying you travel from the borders. Are they local? Are they travelling quite a distance?
Yeah, we had one lady came up from Swindon who's now has employed, but she came for a year after the fire to just come and volunteer to help. A lot of them are local, obviously, but some are going to come up from Perth. And then on some of the bigger events, one guy comes up from Cornwall. He makes swords and works with metal. And he's just Neil Burridge. He's just a gorgeous man, and he comes up and stays for the week and does his stuff. So we have people that come from all over, really.
That is dedication, travelling that sort of distance.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Heather, back to you.
Are there any limitations that can affect who can volunteer, i.e. age or even available hours?
Not really. We've had a volunteers 8-year-old come with the parents for the day. We have volunteers. No, there's no limitations really. All we ask is that you don't eat all the biscuits.
I probably would, to be fair.
We encourage it. Yeah, we encourage it, and we attach to it really. So yeah.
Do you know, Mike, it's a question that we like to ask because we're aware that there's so many charitable organisations out there that just won't take anyone as young as Heather, for instance, who's 11. She's lucky enough that we found a few opportunities for her, but even my wife had offered to go along with Heather and volunteer, and that she would be basically there to monitor Heather at all times. And most places simply wouldn't do it, and they would always put it down to insurance. So it's lovely to hear that, you know, someone like yourself, your organisation, can actually take the younger ones as well as the older ones for that matter.
Yeah.
Heather, on you go.
How did you end up working at the centre? Were you ever a volunteer?
No, I wasn't a volunteer at the Crannog, although so my background, I started off working in the steelworks in Middlesbrough. There was 40,000 people working there at one time. Quite a daunting place to work, and I began to volunteer in my local museum because I didn't feel there was anybody telling my story very well. And so a couple of us on our shift started to go in there, and one thing led to another, so I ended up leaving British Steel, went to work in a museum in Yorkshire, then one in the northeast, then back to Yorkshire, and then the Crannog came up, so I thought I'll just go there for 6 months, get some fresh air, and I've been there ever since. So the wind blew me in, I think, is the answer.
What is your role in the organisation, and how long have you worked there?
So my role is a bacon roll. Oh, only kidding. My role is the director, and I've worked there for 6 years. So my job is just to make sure that everybody else can be brilliant. It's as simple as that.
What is it that you most enjoy about working at the centre?
Well, that's a big question. And to be honest, it's been quite tough since the fire. And there's been times when I haven't enjoyed the job. It's just been a big slog. We raised the money to start, and then you suddenly find all the prices are going up left, right and centre, and you have to raise the money again. But I think for me, the support and the love that has been shown for us is probably, and it's been humbling, is probably the best thing about the job. And it's a great story. What a great story to be telling about folks. And the people that I work with, I should say, they don't tell them, but they're not too bad.
You mentioned there about funding is obviously of great importance to the centre, and it's obviously an issue with what's happened to try and raise that funding for the relocation of the site. How easy was it to raise what was required, and has it taken years and years to pull together, or was it done really quickly?
We were lucky on many counts. So after the fire, a local business set up a Just Giving site, and that would go on to raise over £50,000. And that was people giving in, relatively small amounts of money from all over the world. So that was brilliant. And in the end, the public donations would go over to over 100,000, which was unbelievable, really, for a small place like ours.
Yeah.
And then we were managed to get great support from the Scottish Government, being unbelievable, and various other foundations and trusts. So yeah, it's been a challenge and it's been hard, but again, we've been humbled by that support that we've had, and we hopefully have done them justice.
That's fantastic. The Just Giving page, to be able to raise £100,000 is a phenomenal amount of money. The fact that you're getting support from all around the world as well just shows the interest in what the centre actually is. You mentioned there again that you got some money from the Scottish Government as well, but I see obviously the other way that you're raising funds is by having members of public that can help support you by becoming a friend or a member of the centre itself. Can you provide us with any details on what becoming a friend or member means to the centre, what you get from it?
Yeah, so we're just looking at that again, to be honest. The friends really are folks that will pay a little bit more money. They get a newsletter free. They come into the museum all year for free. Well, not for free because they paid some money. And I suppose they get a sense of supporting something they believe in. But we are rethinking about how we do that. We have also, there's a guy called Angus Ross, who is a local, what's the word I'm looking for? He makes furniture, but he's more than that. He's an artist in wood, and he's making a sculpture out of wood where people will be able to buy discs, really, with the remembrance of a special moment, whether somebody's graduated or they want to remember somebody. We've just launched that as well, where people can buy those and they drop into this sculpture, and it's called The Gathering, and it's about how people coming together can achieve things. That's just about to be launched as well, I think, back end of next week, and we've seen the models of it. Looks gorgeous. So yeah, we're hoping that there'll be more friends and folks will support that as well. And more than anything, I hope when we open, the site won't be finished. The actual new Crannog will only just be starting. We built an Iron-Age village, but we haven't started on the Crannog yet. That'll be in April, May. But I just hope people come and are joyous and feel like we've done a good job in trying to get this thing up and running again.
Now, you mentioned there about being able to sell items here, and I know looking at your website, it says that you'll soon have an online shop. What can we expect from the shop? When's it going to open for anyone to actually buy anything, and what sort of things will you be selling on it?
So the idea with the online shop is to highlight local craftspeople and local produce, if you like, but it'll be mostly things that you can't really buy anywhere else. And we've still got a bit. We've 6 weeks to opening, and that's but it's on the to-do list, and we know we need to get it done. Well, as you can see by I'm only 19 years old, but the job's aged me a little bit. So we're all shattered. But yeah, it's on the to-do list for definite.
Yeah, I can understand. Obviously, things are going to take time. And I love the fact that your shop, at least, you said there that it's going to be selling things that you cannot buy in any other shop. We like getting into a craft fair and seeing proper handmade crafts being made. And I'm assuming it'll feel very much like that. So, yeah, I'll be interested to see the shop once it's open to have a little look through. And lastly, Mike, I've had a look and I see that you have 5-star reviews on TripAdvisor, a whole 1,630 reviews. Bear in mind, this is for your old site. And your new site, all singing, all dancing, it's going to be so much better. You must all be extremely proud of what has been achieved and what the future holds for the centre itself.
Yeah, we are. And in the year after the fire, so we've got no Crannog, TripAdvisor published the top 10 places to visit in the UK. So not just 5 stars, but the top 10. And the British Museum was the 10th best place to visit in the UK, the British Museum in London. The Crannog Centre was 9th without a Crannog. So we beat the British Museum in that year. So I'm hoping the new site will push us up the league table. But we were really proud of that. We couldn't believe it at first. We thought it was just a joke somebody had sent through, but it was true. And that is because we take the time to talk to people and be human beings and to care.
We have been to the British Museum. We were there just a couple of years ago, and it's a fantastic place to visit. So if you're scoring like that, that's just incredible, Mike. You're obviously doing a fantastic job. So yeah, keep it going, keep it up. Yeah, Mike, that brings us to the end, I'm afraid. We'd just like to thank you once more again for joining us to talk about the Scottish Crannog Centre. If anyone would like to find out more about the centre, contact details will be available on the screen at the end of the podcast. We just hope that you've enjoyed listening to the podcast, and we hope that you'll join us again in the future. Till next time, it's bye from me, Gary Bryson.
And it's a bye from me, Heather Bryson. Bye!
Bye-bye, and before you go, do you want me to tell you my favourite joke?
Go for it.
Does it involve a Crannog?
No. Heather, what is the difference, and I'm presuming you've been to school so you should know this, what is the difference between a camera and a sock?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Would you like me to tell you?
Yeah.
So a camera takes...
Pictures?
Not pictures, what else does a camera take?
Memory.
No, begins with PH. Camber takes 4 toes, and a sock takes 5 toes.
5 toes.
Thank you very much. On that note,
terrible.
good to meet you both, and I will
Yeah.
look forward to Heather, you coming and volunteering in the summer